Hey everybody, welcome. I'm excited to go into this week's lesson. I'm going to be sharing with you one totally free, immediate thing you can do to improve your mental health without pretty much any effort, any skills. It's just going to be a decision that you need to make, and I'll give you some coaching on how to do that. So if you're new to our community, welcome. We're glad to have you. My name's Ty Hicks, founder of mentalhealthcoaching.com and the SSS Conditioning Method. We put this content out there for you guys every week for free so that you can get the tools and strategies you need to learn how to have the mental health that you deserve. So today's lesson is going to be a simple one, fairly short one, but very powerful. So I had seen an article several weeks ago, and you ever see an article and you kind of like read the headline and you're like, yeah, duh. Right? And I read the article headline, and the headline was something like, believing that you can improve your mental health, or what was it? No, it said, people who believe they can improve their mental health have much better mental health than those who think they cannot improve their mental health. Right? And I thought, yeah, duh, that has totally been my experience working with our clients over the years, and also, figuring out how to get my mental health where I really want it to be. And so that's really the big, simple takeaway I want you to get, but I'm going to give you a little bonus here of digging in on how you can actually apply this. The single biggest thing I have seen take place over the years is that people who at least hold on to the idea of I can improve my mental health, there's got to be a way, there's got to be a strategy, there's got to be a method, there's got to be some way for me to be able to figure out how to do this. Those people end up feeling so much better than people who just conclude, well, I just can't. This is just how it is. And, a lot of times we like to blame it on our genetics and just say, yep, it runs in the family. What are you going to do? Or we like to blame our background and say, well, yeah, my dad was a real piece of work. He was abusive and all those things. And those things may be true. It may be true that you have multiple generations of depression or anxiety. It may be true that you were abused or any of those types of things. But the big difference, and I want you to really hear me right now, the big thing I've learned over the years, I've worked with over 400 clients that we've helped reduce their anxiety or depression by 75% or more. So I've gotten a good amount of experience of different people from different backgrounds. In my experience, it is not the severity of your background that determines what your mental health future is going to be necessarily. It is not the genetic history that you have. It is not the things that have happened to you, even if you've had traumatic things happen to you or people have abused you or taken advantage of you. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, yes, it does matter. It is a factor. But what I have learned is the single most important factor for people to actually improve their mental health is that they hold on to the belief that I can and I will figure out how to improve my mental health. Because if you conclude, nope, I can't improve it, I just can't, right? Can't is the number one word in the vocabulary of the depressed and anxious, right? The word can't will rob you of your quality of life. It will convince you that you're incapable of things that you totally are capable of. But when you believe that, then you end up making it that is the reality. When you believe that you can't improve your mental health, that's the future that you're headed towards, okay? Now I want to dig a little deeper on this. So here's what I've observed. I'm calling this the cycle of success and the cycle of failure. And I believe that this framework would apply to any area of your life universally. But in the context of improving your mental health, I think it is very important. Here's what I believe is the cycle of success. We'll start with the cycle of success first. The cycle of success is, number one, step one, believing that you can make something better, that you can improve it, that you can make it how you want it to be, right? Shorthand would be believing that you can. When you believe that you can, like even think in your life, if there was ever a time where you really wanted to do something, maybe you had some doubts, maybe you were a little scared, but you had like a core belief that you wanted to change something or you wanted to achieve something and you thought, yeah, I think I can probably do that. I think I can figure that out. Okay, as soon as you think that to yourself, immediately what that does is that creates some sort of potential. It creates the opportunity or the potential for you to get that thing done. It gives you the mental opening to say, okay, well, how would I go about getting that done? Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I try this method? right? Whereas if you were to just conclude, nope, I can't do it, it shuts down that potential immediately. So first you have to have the belief that you can do this, right? And then the second step is you're going to take some form of action to actually make it better. But the only people who take action to make things better are people who first assume I can do something to make this better. So if you, step one, believe, tell yourself I can do something to make this better. Step two, you take action to then make it better. You are very likely to get some level of positive result, right? And you may not totally succeed. You might fail, you might stumble. The first couple of tries or methods may not work so well for you. That's okay. But you will eventually get feedback. Through the feedback, you will learn. Through the feedback, you will iterate. You will change your approach. You will modify. You'll adjust the way in which you go about doing it. You'll figure out what works and what doesn't. And then you can get closer and closer and closer to the goal. Even the failures can become a way to get closer to the goal, so long as, even if you fail, you keep returning to step one, which is believing, okay, there has to be a way, right? There's got to be a way for me to get this done. And then you'll take more action. Then you'll learn more lessons. And then as you take action, you are going to get some level of results. Now, the results may not always be what you want immediately, but any type of result can be used as fuel to get you closer to the goal. But I'm a big believer that if you start with the assumption of I can improve this, and then step two, you tell yourself, okay, well, it's time for me to take some action to do this, and you actually get yourself to take those actions, you are going to start seeing some good results. And as you start seeing good results, you then reach the very first step all over again, because as soon as you get good results, you go, okay, maybe I can actually do this. I guess I can make this happen. And you become more certain. And as you become more certain, you take more action. As you take more action, you get even better results. As you get even better results, you go, hey, I'm getting closer. I'm figuring this out. I can actually make this happen. And then your belief goes even higher, and round and round and round you go. You're in a virtuous cycle. And I've seen this happen with people with their mental health all the time, right? When we get people, even when we do our free coaching sessions, which, by the way, for those of you who are new to the community, every single one of you who is a member of our community, we offer a completely free, no ask, like there's no push, no pressure, nothing. It's just a half an hour of me directly coaching you one-on-one. I just teach you strategies. I just help you for a half hour. We want every single member of our community to take advantage of that, because we want you to have tools that you can use to improve your mental health. So I will do about half a dozen of these calls a day, and I'll have people who, as soon as I just show them, hey, you could do this, and you could do this, and I'll workshop those strategies with them, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I could do this. And immediately it's like their mental health did like a 180 just by showing them a couple little tactics, because now all of a sudden they're going, wait a minute, I think I can actually figure this out. Right? As soon as we just open the doorway a tiny little sliver, it's like it wants to just like blow wide open. And that's the power of just starting to assume, wait a minute, what if I can improve my mental health, and then taking a little bit of action to actually do it and improve it. Now, I'm going to add one little modifier on there, which is you can't just keep doing what you've always done for 10 years and expect a different result. That's why a lot of you guys, very understandably, have started to conclude that you can't improve your mental health. All right, so let's talk about the cycle of failure. The cycle of failure starts with step one, a presumption that you cannot improve your mental health, right? So let me ask you guys, what do you think is the chance, right? If somebody really believes, they keep telling themselves that they cannot improve their mental health. That's what they believe. That's what they keep telling themselves. What do you think are the chances that that person is going to take any type of substantial action to improve their mental health? Pretty obvious, right? They're going to take zero action. They're going to try to avoid it. They're going to try to forget about it. They're going to try to distract themselves. They're simply just going to try to forget about the idea that they have to keep living with this poor mental health forever, because they just believe that that's what it is. So step one, you believe that you can't. Step two, you don't take action, right? Or I should say you take different action, right? You take actions that are likely to actually make your mental health worse. Just binging, social media, not learning mental and emotional skills, arguing with your partner, having the same relationship patterns cause wrecks in your relationship, not take care of your physical health, sleep in, be on an irregular schedule, eat badly, right? Do all of the things that are going to essentially tank your mental health. And then as you do those types of things, what's going to happen? Well, your mental health is going to bear the consequences. It's going to bear the fruit of those particular actions, which means it's going to get worse. And as things get worse, what are you then going to believe? You're then going to believe, see, look, I definitely can't improve it because now it's getting worse. So the trick is you have to start with step one. Step one is you have to commit to assuming and deciding I can improve my mental health, right? And I'm here to tell you guys, I've worked with people who are survivors of physical abuse, sexual abuse, molestation, multiple generations of anxiety, depression, panic attacks, OCD, agoraphobia, health anxiety, addiction, alcoholism. I've seen literally everything under the sun, couple schizophrenic individuals, right? It is the most important thing is you have to start from the belief of I can figure out how to do this. Now, a lot of you guys get stuck, very understandably, because you've gone through a couple of different routes. You've done like 3 or 4 routes. And then you've told yourself, well, I've tried everything. And it's not that you've tried everything, it's just that you've tried 3 or 4 routes, right? And for the most common ones would be traditional therapy or counseling, and then medications are the go-to. And a lot of people think, well, that's it. That's all there is to do. But that's not the case. There's an infinite number of answers out there. Obviously, we have frameworks and tools that we teach that can help. We're partial to those particular skills, but you can find all sorts of things available to you besides just the traditional, means out there. Right? But the most important thing is you have to start from the presumption of there is a way. That was the big thing that got me on my journey of overcoming suicidal depression. I was hospitalized for about a week and a half, about 10 days, I think. And when I was in my psych ward, I was a teenager at the time, so I was in the juvenile psych ward, and I saw so many people in so much pain. And I said to myself, I am not going to live like this. I refuse to come back to this place ever again. I'm not going to do it. I am going to figure out how to get this done. And so it all started from me telling myself, there's got to be a way. I knew at the time when I was a teenager that there were other people in the world who had felt major depression and had figured out ways to overcome it. So I knew there was a way. And that was the key belief that got me where I am today. Because if I had not had that belief, I wouldn't have done the intensive years of research, studying every method I could possibly get my hands on to figure out what works and what doesn't work, and refining it and turning it into a plug-and-place method, right? And that's where we've gotten to where we're at right now. But it all started from me having an idea in my head. And in fact, what I want you to realize, guys, is anything that you have in your life originally started as an idea in your head. Right? If you've ever achieved anything, doesn't matter whether it was passing a geometry test when you were a kid, or playing a sport and winning a game or something like that, or getting a promotion at your job, or just getting a job, or getting an interview, or having a good first date, right? Anything that you've ever obtained in your life started as an idea in your head. You had it as an idea and thought to yourself, I think I could make that happen. And then you took action to make it happen. And then as you took action, you got it, right? And then it works in the exact opposite too. If you believe that you can't, that's exactly what's going to happen. So I know it sounds so cliche, the old Henry Ford quote, right? Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. But it's true. This is how the mechanics of the human brain works. When you tell yourself repetitively a story of I can't, you're going to believe it. When you believe it, you're going to always behave and act in accordance with what you believe. And you're going to get results in your life that correspond with the actions that you take. This is the world we live in. Your mental health is not going to magically, no one is going to come, interrupt what you're doing in your life and hand you excellent mental health. You have to reach out and grab it, right? You have to say, okay, there's got to be a way for me to figure this out. And you got to dig deep. You got to research. You got to look into what all the tools are. Right? If you don't have the tools and you don't know what you need to do, believe it or not, that's actually the simpler problem to solve. We have hundreds and hundreds of hours of free content and material available to you on every one of our platforms. Consume it, use it to your advantage, and execute it. We want you to use it. That's not the problem. The problem is the belief that you have. Because if you believe, well, I just can't improve my mental health, then you're just going to sit around with your thumbs up your ass, right? You're not going to do, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, because I've sat around with my thumb up my ass plenty of times on things, right? I've believed that I can't do certain things, and then what do? I end up sitting around being, lazy and just kind of like trying to forget about the idea of imminent failure. I've done that too, so I'm not judging you by any means. I'm just simply saying you have to flip that switch in your head. You got to start to tell yourself a new narrative of I can and I will. You got to reject the idea that I can't improve my mental health. And if you make that decision of like, you know what, I am no longer going to tell myself that I can't do this. I am going instead to tell myself, yes, I can. I'm going to figure this out. If you just made that one decision to change that one narrative inside of your head, if you truly committed to that, I swear to you that if you stuck with it, now you can't just do it for a couple days and then be like, oh man, my mental health isn't perfect yet. You have to stick with it and make that one decision and stick with it. That alone is going to start to move things for you because you're going to start to pay attention to things differently. You're going to start looking for answers and clarity and ways to make things happen. Right? It's going to get done for you a lot faster than you might think. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you. That's the most important thing. You got to get the cycle of success moving in the right direction for you, not the cycle of failure. Okay? So I'd love to hear your comments. Let us know. And if you guys ever need additional help, reach out to us at mentalhealthcoaching.com. Otherwise, consume as much of our free content as you can get your hands on because we want you to have the mental health you deserve. All right, take care for now, guys. See you next time.